Alright, so I'm just up here in the workshop with my two apprentices here. And these have been dropped off to me. To be honest with you, I don't really have time to be looking at other people's chainsaws at the minute. I've enough to be at, but look, I'll just do these two and try to see can I do something with them really quick. I'm not going to spend much time with them. It's a Sunday morning here. And I'd like to actually get a couple of hours off rather than being working on stuff like this. But anyway, see what we can get done in an hour. That's the way I'm going to put it. We're going to root at these really quick. We're not going to dig into it. We're not going to be cleaning them up or do any of that kind of stuff. Just try to see can we get them working. So what do we have? I have no idea what that is. An MS2 something. This is an MS390. That's a good saw. This is an older saw, but it's probably quite a good one. I like the ones that have these. Or usually tend to be quite well built, these older ones. Let's start with that one. So sticker on it, no throttle. Okay, no throttle. There's petrol in it. Oh, there's something. She wants to go. Yeah, it's not the dirtiest filter. Someone, I'd say, has cleaned this recently. Yeah, there's a wet plug. So I'm going to go ahead and move the carburetor. I just know it's probably more than likely going to be a carburetor issue. I'm not sure if we can fix this. Some of these older carburetors are easier to work on than the newer ones. Because the newer ones, literally, when this happens, is nearly most of the time you have to throw them out and replace them. A carburetor for this will be about 75, 100 euro at the moment, maybe a little more. So we're going to try to save it. I'm going to just take it off. I'm going to run it through an ultrasonic cleaner, put it back in, and hope for the best. There we go. There it is. That's how easy it is to take a carburetor out. No, that's alright, we didn't damage anything there. It looks good, we just clean it. There's a lot of sawdust on this side of the diaphragm, which shouldn't be there. It's unusual. Someone might have been in here and just didn't clean it properly when they were putting it back together. Just going to remove the nut, and it holds a pin which keeps the needle in place. Out there on our little spring. There's not stuffed, it's fine, but I'll leave it out until we blow out everything. Because we have two saws to do here, I'm not going to keep you all day looking at me putting this back together again. It's going back exactly the way I took it apart. I'm not going to run it through an ultrasonic cleaner just yet, because I think we may have solved the issue. I did see a little bit of dirt stuck right down there. It was hard to see and impossible to show you in the camera, so I think we have it blown out. This might cure our problem. If not, I'll run it through the cleaner. If that doesn't solve it, then they need a new carburetor. Now here's the plug for this thing. I don't have a new plug for it, and I don't want to put a plug in it, so we're just going to clean it. Other thing I want to do before I go to start this chainsaw, and is I want to change the petrol. I want to put in my own petrol that I know is good, and we can put this petrol back into it if it's not the issue. But yeah, I always change the petrol because the petrol itself can cause this problem. Also have a look at this guy that's in here, which is our filter. Then there's some going to have a look to make sure it's not gunged up. We're going to get rid of this petrol and put fresh petrol in anyway, because that stuff doesn't look that great from here. It's the right colour, but it's, I don't know, it's a little bit, maybe alright, a little bit cloudy of itself. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That filter's clean. Right, so this saw is now fixed, but I still see an issue with it. Look at the way that chain's sitting to the side. It's just after doing that. So we want to take this off. Have a wee look in here to see what's going on in here. I also don't think that chain is idling. I think he said that was an issue as well. So let's see what's going on in here. For now, well, that's tin oil. You know, if it doesn't look like bar oil, it looks like engine oil, but there's oil in it. Comes out. This pops out. A little needle bearing out. Be really careful with our needle bearing. Into the bore, we're going to stuff in as much of this rope as we can. Now, nylon rope, the kind of stuff you push or use as a pull start, would be better for this, but that's all I've got at the minute. There we are. That's our clutch plate coming out. It's as simple as that. Right. Oh, she's dirty. She's very dirty. So that little plate has top rote on it, so you know you're going to get it right when it's come back in. There's our pump here. Right, well there you spent ages trying to clean this. There's your pump there. But the amount of stuff that's caked around, I'm trying to remove most of this before I take the pump out. There we go. Oh. So look at that thread's gone. That's your problem right there. That thread's burnt out. That's spinning and it's not turning our pump. But you can see the one that's kind of whitish in colour. That thread is gone. Now I'll take this out, give you a better look at it. That's your pump out. And see that little pair of teeth in there? Can you see them? Well, they mesh up with this. And as that turns, that should be turning that. And I can see there quite clearly that that is not turning. Do you see that? Because that thread is gone. That's exactly why this saw is not pumping now. I do want to have a look here. See, is this turning? It is, but it's very stiff. Purely because of our grit and stuff that are built up in here. Our hard greased mix has got in here. And every time I turn that, it's getting freer. So I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to mention this to this other guy. He's going to have to fork out a few quid and get one of these. Alright, so our next victim here, and I'm pretty sure the more I look at this, that is probably an MS240, an old MS240. It's not as light as my 170. It'll have a wee bit more poke than the 170, but known to be a fairly good wee saw. The runs poor is just wrote on it, so that could be a number of things. So let's have a root at it. I think someone has been fiddling at it already. Let's see what's wrong with this one. I did put fresh petrol in it, by the way. There's a lot of times, believe it or not, that can solve the issue. Yep. You learn a wee bit every time you strip another one down, so it's good to get a chance to work on different ones. Yeah. So just pop off that guy there. We're just going to put a plug in that to stop any dirt can get into it. There it is. So this should all pull out now. Oh, so easy to get that carburetor out. Like, you couldn't get any easier than that. We're going to give this a really good clean out, blow out everything out, and hopefully that'll solve our problem. So there's our diaphragm there. It's alright. I don't see any major problems with that. If it was my yoke, I'd replace it. When you're pulling these apart, you're far safer just rebuild them, but I'm going to do what we're asked to do here. Keep it simple. So this guy here, very easy to take out. A real prick to put back in. There's a lot of dirt in this carburetor, you can see it right there. And actually that there is like varnish. So that's just petrol that has soot. So that's probably where our main issue is. Right. I'm surprised it even started and took any throttle, even with the choke on. Look at the amount of dirts in that. So I'm just going to blow it down some carb cleaner like I did the last time. We're going to blow it out an airline, and then we're going to put the whole thing back together, and hopefully that'll be our problem solved. Here's a little jet that I took out. I'm going to show you something here. So if you look down that little jet, can you see a hole through the middle of it? And I swear I'm not putting my finger over the end of it. There's no hole to be seen there. Now, you see the hole? That's what we're looking for. It's running a tad high, you can see the way the game is still spinning. We're just going to win here. Now I want to make sure it's island. Alright, we're back. And it's been a few weeks now since the last time I was written at this. So here is our pump. This is the original pump, and I managed to free this guy up. It's turning nice and freely now. Another thing you can do with these, this guy here for instance, so if you think you're not getting enough oil to the bar, depending on what job you're at, you can make wee adjustments to that. If you wanted to take this pump apart, you can just remove this little pin here, pop it out. Pops out there. And your adjuster will pull out, and this grub screw here will just pop straight out, and you can clean it and do whatever you want with it. Luckily enough, I didn't have to do that because it freed up quite easily. It was seized, and that's the reason why this guy, which is the new one now, ended up the threads going on it, because the pump wasn't turning. So we have all the bits and pieces we need. I've given the saw a bit of a clean up inside. Let's put it back together. It's in there. There it is. Sorry, I'm blocking the light with my own head. That's that. This is the replacement fella here, so he just slips over. That should just slot in. Yep. Make sure that he's turning. So he's now turning the pump. You can see the way it wants to reverse itself out when I turn it. That means it is catching the teeth of the pump. So the saw, when the saw's put back together again, it'll keep that from happening. But I can already tell that it is pumping. Anyway, so this guy here then goes back on. You can see top is right there, so you can't really go wrong. Just keep that by in there. So our clutch assembly goes on next, and it's anti-clockwise for it. So our little needle bearing goes on next. Now this guy here, you have to be careful, you have to look. And there's a little notch there, do you see that? So that little notch lines up with our spring. You seen the little guy that was spinning around, so we have to look, see what that is. There it is. Let's make sure that lines up with that. You see the way that we notch there, it's just caught on that. Just right in there in the corner. Final assembly now, this guy goes on next. And then finally this guy here. There it is. And I'll put our plug back in. This guy back in there. So we can put this yoke back together again. That bar there to me has a hell of a lip on it, and that's because, and I mean lip, I mean here. When you come across there, there's a hell of a lip sticking out. And that's just from the chain probably running too hot. That means it'll not cut well, because that'll catch on the timber when you're cutting. So it's not hard to take that off. We can grind that off very easily. But it's also got bits missing out of it, chunks missing out of it here. It's well damaged, that. And you know, for the price of it, I would definitely put a new bar on it. But anyway. So next time you have your chain off your saw, just run your hand, see is there any lip there. If there is, just file it off and wait till you see the difference that'll make when it's cutting. Now, I thought that bar was more or less clean, but look at all that gunk that's coming out. See? Just oil that's baked onto it. And timber and stuff just gets baked onto it. So it's not hard just to run a scriber or now a screwdriver, something like that, and it fits down into it, run it back and forth a few times. Just clean out that track. It's just all a little bit of general maintenance and it will make a difference. If my old metalwork teacher could see what I'm doing with this scriber. People are having a ferocious amount of trouble now with small engines while leaving fuel in them for too long. Used to be you could leave it in for near 6 months before you'd have an issue. Now it's 2 months, sometimes even less. The only option you have, cheapest option, is to always, when you're using something like this, empty your fuel tank when you're done with it. If you're going to leave it sitting for a few weeks, empty your fuel tank and run it until it runs dry. Another thing you can do, expensive option, not many will do it, is use something like this here, where you can put it in the last tank, and there's no ethylene in this here, and that will keep your carburetor fine because it's the seals in the carburetor that get ahead of it, and no matter how much you try to clean them, it's more likely a waste of time. Normally, if you go to a dealership, they won't even entertain cleaning it, they'll just tell you need a new carburetor. But anyway, that's that saw fixed. I sharpened the blade in as well. Job done. Just have to run to our local co-op with our bin, pick up some loose calf grower for our cows, because right now at the moment we're using bags, and bags is just handy when calves are quite young, but the calves are eating a lot of meal now and we're running too often to the co-op for bags. So to buy it loose, well, it's cheaper because it obviously doesn't have to be bagged, but it's more convenient as well because we're not having to go as often. So now when I do have the bin in, I notice one other thing that's happening here, and this white calf, anything you leave that she can get at, she'll get at it. I'm just going to wind it up here so she can't reach it. But yeah, she's a bit of a devil. She gets up actually, or her two hooves onto that trot. She'd start trying to retch up here at the galvanise. She's trying to retch at this pipe here. I had to pull it out of the way to try and eat at it. She's just one of those. You'll always get them. She has actually a couple of little dots on her face. I nearly thought it was ringworm, but I don't think so. I never had calves at that age get ringworm. That's not to say they don't get it, they can. And there's a chance they could have caught it of them heifers when they come home, because they have it there practically cleared up now, but it's there. It's not doing any harm. You'll not find it big on outside. Can't wait to get calves outside. It's not quite at that time yet. It's still quite cold. There's a cold wind blowing about, and though it's lovely dry weather, there's definitely a hard wind, and no, calves aren't getting out yet. When they do get out, the two batches will go out together with these ones here too. That's it. That's the crack for the day. I'm going to leave it there. I'll see you in the next one.